You know the saying, to damn with faint praise, right? I was damning him with faint praise. It means half-hearted praise, insincere praise. You're saying some nice stuff, but you don't really mean it. We all know it. It's very obvious when somebody's doing it. The people that do it don't hide it half as well as they think they hide it. David Moyes does it an awful lot with Said Benrahma, which is what I want to talk about today. Not just the way he speaks about him, but just the way he's handling him, the way he's treating him, and how telegraphed it is, how obvious it is to everybody else. He says the things about him. He says nice things about him, but he doesn't mean them. And he speaks about other people very, very differently. If there are other players who can play as well as Said Benrahma, and they'll get a lot more praise. But they can make a mistake like Said Benrahma and they won't get anywhere near as much criticism as Benrahma does. I said in a build-up show yesterday that Benrahma almost has to do 10 times more than anybody else to get the same sort of recognition. It may not be 10 times, but you get what I'm saying. The trouble is with damning someone with faint praise is that it gets noticed. Particularly when you've got a job in the public eye. David Moyes probably doesn't want a job in the public eye. David Moyes you understand he likes a part of his job. He likes the managerial side, the coaching side, all that sort of stuff. The old school football manager stuff. That's what David Moyes likes. The media stuff, he could live without. Unfortunately, he's decided not to live without it because that is very much part of the job. If you don't want to speak publicly, don't take a football manager's job. It's part of it. The moment you are going to accept the £2 million bonus, the moment you're going to accept that you can buy players for 40, 50, 60 million pound, whatever it might be, then you're going to have to accept that money comes from somewhere, and that money generally comes from Sky or BT or Amazon or whoever the case may be. And at that point, you just have to accept it's part of the job. You have to speak. And the moment you have to speak, you're going to have to start being a little bit more aware of your words and a little bit more responsible for your words. Now, David Moyes either doesn't understand that he's damning Benrahma with faint praise, or he does and he just doesn't care, or he does know he's doing it and he thinks that's the best way to manage him. The most worrying thing would be that he didn't understand and he's still doing it because it means nobody is telling him. Nobody gets everything right, yeah? We just don't. We all make mistakes. We all need things pointed out to us. If you think you're perfect, you're probably in trouble on that score. And I hope that David Moyes doesn't think that. But I would also hope that David Moyes has people that would say to him, because I certainly would. I would certainly say to David Moyes, you don't have to do it in a nasty way. You didn't come, just say to him, Moyes, you didn't come across well there, mate. It looks like you're ganging up on him. It looks like you're bullying him. You're holding him to different standards that you hold to everybody else. The reason this is important, by the way, is that he was dropped for the last 2 games. He came off the bench, scored the winner against Brentford, and I felt afterwards he damned him with faint praise. But you would hope somebody would tell him. You would hope somebody would point out that's how he's coming across. You would also hope that when he received that information, he would say, "Oh, really? I didn't realise. Okay, I'll sort of work on that. I'll go the extra bit." I don't feel it's happening. We'll use a few players as examples. If Mikel Antonio, not the greatest example because he's not in the best of form, but when Mikel Antonio was in his pomp, when he was rattling them in and he looked like he'd been successfully converted from a winger to a striker or whatever you want to say, David Moyes would say, "Oh, Mikey was outstanding today." There were no ifs and there were no buts. He's unplayable. He'd use all of these wonderful, flowery, flourishing words to describe how effective and how brilliant Mikel Antonio was. You also hear it with the way he would describe Aaron Cresswell, the way he described Declan Rice, Thomas Souček. Thomas Souček's probably the case in point because that was a substitution that was made yesterday. Benrahma never gets that level of praise. He'll always get, but. He often says, well, yes, I know he's scored that, or I know he's dribbled past that, but we expect that of him. We know he can do that. Antonio scores a goal. He doesn't speak like that. He doesn't say, well, yeah, we know he can do it. He doesn't. He's far more enthusiastic. That's the thing about faint praise. It lacks enthusiasm. And when someone really likes something, they're enthusiastic about it. There's no enthusiasm when he speaks of Benrahma. The reverse is also true when Benrahma does something wrong. There's heavy criticism. Heavy criticism. In a way that others don't receive it. I think it might have been the Brentford League game. I might have that wrong. It might have been the Brentford League game. Thomas Souček possibly made 8 passes. I think that there was definitely, it might have been that game. It might not. I'm only one game out if I am. That's cause for criticism, right? A midfielder that makes only 8 passes in a game. Granted, he was substituted, whatever, in the 70th minute, but 8 passes, that's pretty crap, right? If Said Benrahma did that, you'd hear about it. Lucas Paqueta, I like Paqueta. He's really improving. I think you can see, I say really improving, he's getting better bit by bit. For West Ham, he don't have to get better bit by bit. For Brazil, he's just brilliant for Brazil. For West Ham, he seems to be improving. And a lot more stuff is coming off. But in the process of that stuff coming off, he's making mistakes. Passes are not quite reaching their intended recipient. There's a dribble that might not be completed. He's losing the ball a bit. Now, I think one of the reasons Moyes likes him is he'll really graft and he gets almost offended that he's lost the ball, Paqueta, so he'll sort of really try and work hard and work back to get it back. Maybe there's something Benrahma doesn't quite do. Okay, fine. But you do get the impression if Benrahma lost the ball as much as Paqueta does, then he'd be dragged over hot coals. I mean, he really would, and sort of hung out to dry publicly. Definitely dropped. Just definitely. And we sort of know that because, let's be fair, Benrahma's been dropped when he's been playing brilliantly. Now, when I do this, when I upload videos, I do, to a large extent, I trust what you say in the comments. I do rely on the comments an awful lot, and I've got no reason not to trust you guys. You know, as excellent, really insightful comments each and every day. A lot of times, stuff I've not thought about. I'll often take comments that have been made in these videos, and that will give me food for thought for the video the day after or the day after that. Somebody said in the comments on the video I did after the game, the FA Cup game against Brentford, that I uploaded last night, that statistically Benrahma has the most successful dribbles in the Premier League. Now, I haven't checked it out, but I trust the comment. Let's go with that. That's no surprise, is it? I mean, that seems right, doesn't it? He just dribbles an awful lot. He tends to be relatively successful with them. What is a successful dribble? I guess when you've travelled a certain distance with the ball and not lost the ball. I don't know how they measure it. That would seem about right. I think he's become more effective this season at driving into the box. I noticed something in David Moyes' comments before the game, the FA Cup game, the last game against Brentford. He was talking about Benrahma's end product. Benrahma been dropped from the team, which I just think just makes no sense. He said Benrahma's output has not been as good. And this is really important when you listen to the language. He says his output has not been as good and his crosses were not great. Needs to improve them. So he doesn't say not great, he says needs to improve them. But Benrahma has been assisting and scoring this season. Yet when he spoke about Souček, and he very much spoke about Souček being in the team, remaining in the team, he spoke about Souček's goals and the threat he carries. Yet there's far more evidence in recent times to suggest that Benrahma's the threat of the attacking player. You've got to go really far back to find the evidence that Souček is now going to get fit and firing now. He's fit, you know what I'm saying. He's going to start threatening the opposition goal. Yet the language is very, very different. Yet there he was. I couldn't help but feel sorry for Benrahma when I heard that. And it's a case of, well, what more can he do? He can't be better than the most effective dribbler in the league, can he? Let's be fair. You know, what's I don't know, the best dribbler in the solar system or something. I don't know what he's really looking for. I'm in no doubt that Benrahma wasn't a David Moyes selection, a David Moyes purchase, let's put it that way. And he's not the only one either. The video's running on there. We'll speak about the others another day. However, the early crossing, David Moyes wanted him to cross it earlier. There he was when he came off the bench against Brentford, crossing the ball early and with his left foot. You could see he'd taken that instruction on board. David Moyes said it in the press conference. There he is. Said Benrahma, okay, I'll do that. That thing you've asked of me, let me try and do that. And he did try. Well, that's a good attitude, right, isn't it? Taking instruction from your boss, even though if he was a strop, if he was going to throw a strop, he'd say, hold on a second, I've been doing everything I already can. I do everything. I do good stuff for this team. But no, okay, I'll take that on board. I'll do that as well. Comes on, scores the winner. Brilliant. You know, well done. Well done. And then comes the faint praise. And not just that. Again, I'm relying on somebody, you know, in the chat, in the comments on yesterday, not this video, yesterday's video. Somebody said he almost alluded to the fact that Benrahma probably wouldn't start against Wolves. I don't know whether that's true or whether it's not. I certainly believe that person that wrote the comment heard it. I certainly heard earlier on in the week before the Brentford game that was going to be the case. You'd certainly hope that scoring the winner and sort of changing... We hadn't attacked much before he came on, by the way, before Benrahma came on. You'd certainly hope that scoring the winner would carry some currency, that there would be some value to it. When I say currency and value, I mean you basically start the next match. I do find it really weird. As for the crossing, earlier crossing, this frustrates the hell out of me. He talks about accuracy of crossing. Well, why don't you put him on the side where he can cross? Well, that's what you want. Of course, if he's right-footed, his crossing is going to be delayed because he's going to cut in and you have to stop, you have to turn, you cross with your right foot. That's what happens when you play these inverted wingers. Basically, a right-footed player on the left side, a left-footed player on the right side. You're going to have to check back in. If not, and you're going to cross first time, you're going to be crossing with your weaker foot. Now, don't get me wrong, I think too many professional footballers are too crap with their weaker foot. That's your job. Practice more, all right? Practice more. There's really no excuse. We saw people like Santi Cazorla, remember him? Oh, my goodness. I know not everyone can be him, but, and people would come at the argument and say, well, Messi seems to do all right with his left foot, but it's your job, improve at it. However, you're just not going to be as good. Not everyone is completely ambidextrous in that sense, are they? So we just think, well, put him on the right side. If what you want is early and accurate crosses, put him on the other side. But you don't, because actually what you want, and because this is what you've chosen tactically, and that's fine as well, is you'd rather them cut in and be able to shoot on their stronger foot. He'd rather Bowen be able to cut in and shoot with his left foot and score a goal than he would run down the line and cross it. And the same with Benrahma. Wants Benrahma to cut inside and shoot with his right foot. We saw it yesterday. I just think it's a really, really bad look. And I mentioned in the build-up, I think it might have been a build-up show, it might have been a build-up, might have been the Patreon breakfast show that we do. By the way, if you're not signed up to Patreon, please go and check it out. The link's in the description below. It's basically like a third additional extra Hammers Chat channel. I was saying, if I was Said Benrahma's agent, or if I was Said Benrahma at the moment, he's not being demonstrative, he's not kicking off publicly, but I think I'd be saying to my agent, can you get me out of here? Because actually it doesn't matter what I do, I can't seem to impress this manager. I can't. There is no way I can earn my place in the team. That's as good as I've got. That's as good as I've got. Even when I am the best attacking player in the whole squad, I still can't keep the shirt. There's nothing more I can do. That's my best. I'd say hell of a frustrating thing, isn't it? To do your best at something, and then still basically be told you're a failure. Either in the half-hearted comments or, basically, I'm taking that shirt off you. And give that shirt to somebody who's nowhere near as effective as you. That's a hard thing to stomach, And I think he does. And I think he takes it with good grace. But I wouldn't mind saying privately, get me out of here. I wouldn't blame Benrahma if he was thinking, particularly bearing in mind we've been in a bad run of form, if Benrahma was thinking, OK, well, maybe they'll get rid of the manager. And maybe the next manager, if they get a football playing manager. Moyes plays football, you know what I mean? Maybe a more technical manager, let's put it that way, less defensive manager. That Benrahma may well think, well, hold on, if someone else comes in, I might get more of a chance. I might get a little bit more freedom. Maybe he's bought into some of the Pochettino talk. I use him as an example because he's that type of manager, isn't he? Maybe he's thinking, if Mauricio Pochettino came in, I'd be playing a lot. I'd get the freedom. I'd be able to express myself. He always looks happy when he's expressing himself, Benrahma. Maybe when he's heard that actually David Moyes is safe. David Moyes is here for the long haul. David Moyes' job is intact. We back David Moyes, we back the manager. And I wouldn't blame Benrahma when he hears that, thinking, okay, the manager's staying, that's fine, that's fine, that's the club's prerogative to hire any manager they wish. Because the club have got to look after themselves and do what they think is best. But also it comes a point where a player and his agent, it's their job to do what they think is best for them. Ben Johnson might be thinking the same at the moment. I know he played against Brentford, but Ben Johnson's contract is running out. Ben Johnson continues to not get in the first team. As much as he loves West Ham, been at West Ham since he was 8, I wouldn't blame him for thinking, if I can't get a game here and I can't really impress the manager, I've got to sort of look after myself when I play football. Said Benrahma may well be doing that, and I wouldn't blame him if he was. But I think it's so easy avoidable. It's so easy avoidable. Speak about him. You don't have to go above and do... You don't have to give him different treatment. Just treat him the same way you treat everybody else. That'd probably do. And also, you're not asking for favours here. You're not like trying to throw him in even though he's crap. Let's be fair, I don't particularly like to dig out anyone in particular, but I said Souček. It's not just Souček. Thilo Kehrer. He's been crap for quite some time. I know he got dropped for the Brentford game, but you get the impression he can make far more mistakes. Thilo Kehrer can make 10 mistakes and keep his place. Benrahma don't get one. It's unfair. And you sort of wouldn't mind, and you'd have no cause for complaint if you were Benrahma, if the team were winning and the team were good. But we're not. The team are poor. A run of defeats in the Premier League, followed by missing and sort of not selecting our best attacker. I do wonder what David Moyes will think on that. Obviously, he's got the draw, got the 1-1 draw, and then he's got the victory in the cup. He may well see that as justification as dropping Benrahma. If I was Benrahma, though, I'd definitely be looking at it and thinking, it doesn't matter what I do, this manager's got a problem with me.